Welcome to this deep dive into Sui Network, one of the most innovative and ambitious Layer 1 blockchains in today's crypto landscape. Developed by Mysticeti Labs, Sui is built for ultra-low latency, high-throughput execution, and an object-centric architecture that reimagines how blockchains handle transactions. Unlike traditional blockchains, Sui treats every digital asset or resource as a distinct object with its own ownership and state, allowing independent transactions to run in parallel. This unique approach, combined with cutting-edge consensus protocols like Narwhal, Bullshark, and Mysticeti, makes Sui highly scalable and optimized for real-world Web3 applications, from gaming and DeFi to decentralized storage and beyond. In this video, we'll explore Sui's architecture, tokenomics, ecosystem, and the innovative mechanisms that set it apart, including its storage fund, deflationary model, and fast-path transaction processing. We'll also discuss its growing developer community, privacy features, interoperability plans, and the institutional attention it's starting to attract. Whether you're a developer, investor, or crypto enthusiast, this overview will give you a comprehensive understanding of why Sui is being positioned as a next-generation blockchain platform. This video is created for educational and informational purposes only. It does not promote or endorse any financial product, investment, or cryptocurrency. All information presented here is based on publicly available sources and independent analysis. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research before making any financial or technological decisions. Sui Network represents one of the most technically ambitious Layer 1 blockchains in the modern crypto space. Built by Mysticeti Labs, it is designed to offer ultra-low latency, high-throughput execution, and an object-centric architecture that fundamentally rethinks how blockchain systems process transactions. Unlike traditional blockchains that treat everything as account-based or linear flows, Sui models every digital asset or resource as an object with explicit ownership and state. This allows transactions on independent objects, for example, simple payments or single-owner operations, to run in parallel, massively improving the scalability and speed of the network. The consensus architecture is built around two main engines: Narwhal, which handles data availability via a directed acyclic graph, DAG, and Bullshark, which handles consensus ordering. This separation means the system can spread the load more effectively, decoupling how data is distributed from how it is ordered. At the heart of Sui's performance roadmap is Mysticeti, a new consensus protocol designed to slash latency even further. Mysticeti reorganizes how blocks are committed. Validators sign and broadcast blocks in a way that reduces round trips, and it introduces a fast path for simple, owned object transactions. According to Sui research, Mysticeti achieves commit latencies of around 500 milliseconds for consensus path transactions, and even around 250 milliseconds for those fast path single-owner operations, all while sustaining extremely high throughput. This kind of performance makes Sui a standout. It's not just scalable in theory, but optimized for real-world Web3 use cases where responsiveness matters. Beyond consensus, Sui is also working on Lutris, a protocol that blends Byzantine reliable broadcast with DAG-based consensus to optimize for both speed and reliability. Lutris's owned object path ensures that simple object transactions can commit fast, while still integrating with the more robust Narwhal Bullshark consensus when needed. Sui documentation. This dual-path design gives Sui real flexibility. It can support super-fast object transactions, but also handle complex contracts or shared object operations without bottlenecking. Another foundational piece of Sui's architecture is its object-based data model, enabled by the Move programming language, which emphasizes ownership types. Each object, whether it's a coin balance, NFT, or smart contract instance, has its own identity and lifecycle. This object-oriented model not only helps Sui process transactions in parallel, but also simplifies how dependencies are managed. The system knows exactly which objects a transaction will affect and can schedule accordingly. Turning to tokenomics, Sui is built with a capped total supply of 10 billion tokens, a feature that underpins its value proposition. But more than just a fixed supply, Sui employs a clever mechanism called the storage fund. Whenever users create or modify objects, they pay storage fees. These fees have two parts: a refundable deposit, if the object is later deleted or shrunk, and a non-refundable component, which is permanently absorbed into the storage fund. That non-refundable portion effectively burns tokens out of circulation, generating deflationary pressure as the network is used. The storage fund also plays a role in network sustainability. The tokens locked in the fund are staked by validators who earn rewards in proportion to their stake, helping to subsidize the cost of storing on-chain data. Over time, this system reinforces scarcity. As usage increases and more objects exist, more SUI is pulled into the fund and either locked or removed permanently. According to Sui's own data, this mechanism has already removed a non-trivial amount of SUI from active circulation, strengthening its long-term value model. From an inflation perspective, while SUI does issue new tokens for staking rewards, the design is carefully balanced. Some reports suggest an annual inflation rate of around 3%, but this inflation is countered by the deflationary burn from the storage fund. The net effect is a system where network activity itself contributes to scarcity. More use means more SUI exiting circulation, which in turn could increase long-term value for token holders. Sui's consensus mechanism is built on delegated proof of stake, DPoS, where token holders delegate to validators who secure the network. Because Sui validators validate individual transactions rather than grouping them into large blocks like many traditional blockchains, and leverage Narwhal and Bullshark, the system avoids the bottleneck of sequential block processing. This architecture, combined with the DAG-based design, enables Sui to support parallel execution of many object-centric transactions. A critical strength of Sui lies in its scalable architecture. By distinguishing between transactions on single-owner objects, which can take a fast path, and transactions involving shared objects, which go through full consensus, Sui maximizes performance efficiency. This design means that simple interactions, like wallet transfers or NFT moves, don't require heavy consensus overhead, while more complex operations still get the security and coordination they need. One of the most compelling aspects of Sui's tokenomics is the long-term deflationary pressure generated by the storage fund. As more applications and users come online, the non-refundable fees from object creation and modification act as a continuous sink for Sui. For immutable objects, those that cannot be changed, the deposits are never returned, meaning those tokens remain forever locked in the fund, contributing to a shrinking float. Over time, as adoption grows, this mechanism could make SUI progressively scarcer, reinforcing value for long-term holders. Beyond core protocol mechanics, the Sui ecosystem is rapidly expanding. On the development side, Mysticeti Labs and the Sui community regularly run hackathons, like Overflow, to incentivize builders to build DeFi apps, Web3 games, and other smart contract-based applications. According to community updates, there is a strong emphasis on developer tools, with robust APIs and SDKs built around Move and Sui's object model. On the storage front, a major piece is Walrus, a decentralized storage layer being built on top of Sui. Walrus is designed for high-scale use cases like AI and large Web3 datasets, and it integrates deeply with Sui. Storing blobs in Walrus requires creating metadata objects on Sui, consuming SUI in the process. This integration with Walrus not only supports a real-world data storage use case, but also feeds directly into Sui's tokenomics. As data gets written, more Sui is drawn into the storage fund, which further amplifies the deflationary mechanism. Some community estimates suggest that once Walrus hits scale, it could burn hundreds of millions of SUI annually, making it a major demand driver for the token. Privacy and developer usability are also part of Sui's roadmap. Tools like Seal, a decentralized secrets manager, allow developers to securely store and manage sensitive data, like API keys or authentication secrets, on-chain without relying on centralized services. This makes Sui appealing for building secure, privacy-aware Web3 apps, especially in scenarios where users and developers need to handle sensitive information. Gaming is another key focus. The community has talked about a handheld gaming console called Sui Play XS1, which could enable Web3 native games on a dedicated device. According to community sources, titles like Brave Frontier Versus and Samurai Showdown R are potential early games for the console. This kind of build suggests Mysticeti Labs is not just thinking about generic blockchain apps. They are aiming for a future where Web3 gaming has a real, consumer-friendly hardware presence. Sui's roadmap also includes Sui NNS, a human-readable naming system for addresses, and enhancements like zero-knowledge login, ZK login, for more private, user-friendly authentication. These features aim to lower the barrier to entry for users and improve usability across decentralized applications. Interoperability is part of the picture too. While Sui's base architecture is highly optimized for its own object model, the team is exploring bridges to connect Sui with other blockchains, for example, a trustless bridge to Ethereum. This would allow tokens or assets to move between Sui and Ethereum ecosystems, increasing liquidity and opening up cross-chain opportunities. Institutionally, there's growing attention on Sui. In 2025, Canary Capital filed with the US SEC to launch a spot ETF tied to SUI, signaling that institutional investors see Sui as more than just another altcoin. If approved, this ETF could channel significant capital into SUI, raising its profile and possibly helping stabilize its price through longer-term investment flows. Despite Sui's many strengths, it faces real risks and challenges. One of the major concerns among the community is its unlock schedule. Some critics argue that large future token unlocks could lead to selling pressure. However, many within the community push back on these concerns, pointing out that future unlocks represent less than 1% of the total supply per month, and that the vesting schedule is staggered across many years. Others note that although some insiders hold a large portion of SUI, the majority of the economic value will come from usage, thanks to the storage fund mechanism, ecosystem growth, and real demand from storage and gaming. Another risk involves decentralization and governance. In one high-profile incident, after a DEX on Sui was hacked, validators coordinated to freeze addresses associated with the stolen funds, leveraging emergency vote code. Some people regard this as a decentralized security feature, but others argue it challenges the idea of absolute decentralization and raises questions about how much authority validators truly have, particularly when they act in concert. In addition, while Mysticeti promises extremely low latency and high throughput, it remains relatively new and complex. Its implementation must prove itself over long-term network operation under real-world conditions and with varying validator behavior. While the research is promising, Mysticeti achieves very low commit latency and strong throughput in tests. Production realities can differ. Furthermore, while Sui's storage fund is powerful, its long-term success depends heavily on adoption. The more applications, users, and on-chain data use Sui, the more tokens get locked or burned. If growth slows, the deflationary cycle could weaken, reducing the economic incentives for some stakeholders. From an investment perspective, SUI's model is appealing but not without uncertainty. Some analyses suggest that the onboarding of real-world use cases, like Web3 gaming, decentralized storage, and data-heavy apps, could drive meaningful demand over time. Others, however, remain cautious about price volatility, token unlocks, and the competitive landscape. Sui competes with other high-performance Layer 1s like Solana, Aptos, and others. On the upside, if Sui's roadmap is executed successfully, especially with tools like Walrus, Seal, and Sui Play 0x1, the network could become a cornerstone of next-generation Web3 infrastructure. Its architectural advantages, object model, fast path plus consensus path, DAG-based mempool, give it a clear edge technically. Meanwhile, its deflationary tokenomics align long-term network use with value accrual. On top of that, institutional interest, such as the potential SUI ETF, adds credibility and brings a fresh capital entry point. To wrap up, Sui Network is not just another Layer 1 blockchain. It's a bold bet on a future where blockchain isn't just for money, but for data, applications, gaming, AI, and on-chain resources. Its combination of architectural innovation, sustainable tokenomics, and real-world utility makes it very compelling. That said, execution risk is real. Adoption must continue, development must deliver, and governance must remain aligned. For long-term holders and builders, Sui could be a foundational piece of the decentralized stack, but like any high-potential crypto, the upside comes with meaningful risk. All right, if you learned something new or enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.